It's a Wonderful Life stars James Stewart and Donna Reed and is directed by Frank Capra. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's the story of George, who at the beginning of the film is contemplating suicide on a bridge, and it's because he feels like if he was never born, then everybody would be better off. That if he never existed, that everybody's lives would be better. And these angels notice this guy and they reflect on his past before going down from heaven to help him and convince him otherwise. So we get to see George's life from his childhood all the way up to adulthood, leading up to the point to where he goes to the bridge to kill himself. And this is a great movie. And I mean, it's a classic for a reason. It has a lot to say about, there are little things that people do for each other, little acts of kindness that we think are inconsequential, but really they could end up having a large domino effect that we can't comprehend or that we can't even know about. And George does a lot of really good small stuff for people, but he does also a lot of really good big stuff, especially once he takes over the bank from his father. And he doesn't seem to realize that this is a good thing that he's doing, and that he doesn't. Another thing about George's character is that he does good things without really thinking twice about it or thinking about how it will affect him. He always puts others before himself. However, there is a slightly selfish part of him where he wants to move out of town because he wants to be somebody big and he wants to do something very important because he thinks that being something like a movie star or exploring the world is more important than helping little people at the bank or just doing these small deeds. He still does a lot of really good things throughout the film without asking for anything in return. A lot of times, like, he'll loan people money and he'll be like, just pay me back when you can. He doesn't, dwell on it too much. And around Christmas time, something really bad happens to his company, and he realizes that if he doesn't kill himself, like if he doesn't die, his family is basically going to lose everything. Basically, by killing himself, he'll be worth more to them dead than alive. And that's kind of what leads him to that situation. But this angel comes down, and the angel is like, look, let me give you your wish. And if you still feel this way, you can kill yourself. And the angel shows him what his hometown would be like if George had never been born. And it's little things like when George was a kid, he stopped a pharmacy doctor from screwing up a prescription because the pharmacy doctor was, off his game that day. Or George's brother almost drowned when they were kids, but George saved them, and then his brother joined the army later in life and ended up saving a whole battalion of soldiers. And if George had never been born, his brother would have just drowned in the river. And it's little things like that, and his journey throughout seeing that, wow, I'm really lucky to have lived the life that I have, and you know what? Losing all this money isn't that important. It's my family that is important, and continuing to do good things despite, potential consequences to myself. And eventually, I don't want to spoil the ending of the film, but eventually everything does come full circle. Like, the good deeds that he does have an arc. Like, there are great lessons at the center of this film, and lessons that I think still hold up today and are very important for today, because I think it's very easy for us to get caught up in that our actions don't really matter. I think that people get very depressed around this time of year sometimes, and it's very hard to lose sight of what matters, because in a lot of ways there are things that make us feel like that materials or money is the most important thing, but really it's our actions and actions of kindness that are important, and they can eventually change the world in a domino effect that we can't really comprehend at the time when we do these nice things. But it's as human beings, we think about the here and the now. We don't think about 20 years or 10 years from now, and how our actions can affect people in a positive way. But It's a Wonderful Life really reflects on that and shows George's life and how he has helped others. And I think that's an important lesson to have, and seeing his arc and realizing, oh, my life, led a really good life. I love my kids, I love my wife, and seeing how a lot of people's lives would be a lot worse off if he hadn't done some of those little deeds is really refreshing and really powerful. And so I have friends, and even myself have really struggled with depression around the holidays or around the year in general. And I think films like this are important for people like myself and others who have faced this sort of thing either in the current day or in the past. And reaching out to the ones that you love is important, but self-reflection is also something that we can find in stories like this, and It's a Wonderful Life. And it's a great Christmas movie. I mean, it's one of the best Christmas movies ever. So It's a Wonderful Life. Have you seen it? Comment below, let me know. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Christmas, and I can't wait to continue on into 2020. Bye.